Hello and welcome to this presentation aimed at passing your ACCA F2 or FIA Management Accounting paper. The objective of this session then is to have a look at some of the key skills that you need to master in order to pass your exam and to give you some study tips along the way. My name is Jo Ryan and I'm BPP's subject matter expert for F2. As a result then of reviewing past exam papers and specimen papers and attending discussions with the examiner, we have come up with 4 key skills which we think you need to master in order to achieve success in your F2 exam. These are the things then that you will learn as you go through your course and have a chance to practice before you sit the real exam. The obvious place then to start when we're looking for success in the exam is with learning and understanding what is actually in the syllabus. So you'll need to spend time getting to grips with the content, getting to grips with the knowledge, the technique and the processes. When you first receive your material, you might be alarmed at the number of topics and study areas that there are in this paper, but you're going to need to make sure that you've got sufficient time to get all the way through all of these areas. So you need to break it down into bite-sized chunks, and that's why we've got the different chapters for you to understand the different areas. You'll be able to practice as you go questions, and you'll have the lecture examples which reinforce the material and the content. What you need to do then is make sure that you're aware of key formulae and techniques and that you can call upon these to answer questions. Once you've understood the material, you need to focus on being able to answer questions within the time allocated. So you need to make sure then that you're making effective use of your time in the exam and that you're able to answer the questions effectively and that you're also able to get through all of the questions. In the 2 hours then you need to get through as many of the questions as possible in section A and section B. So overall then you need to get 50% out of the questions in the 2 hours. So you need to make sure then that you give yourself enough time to work through the multitask questions in section B. For most people then, starting with the 2-mark questions in section A is the best starting point. What you need to do then is to make sure that you've got the right technique for tackling those objective test questions in section A. One of the biggest issues with multiple choice and objective test questions is that students will sometimes know the right answer but will end up selecting the wrong answer if they're rushing through them too quickly. So what you need to do is to make sure you read the requirement very carefully and locate the correct answer, but also check the other answers and the requirement again to ensure that you're answering the correct question and also confirm that you've picked up the right answer. Having a systematic check in place will ensure that you don't throw away marks when you actually do know the answer. What you need to be careful about in these questions is what to do when more than one answer looks plausible. Sometimes your gut instinct is the best place, and don't go changing your answers too much because sometimes overthinking it can cause you problems. Finally, section B of the exam contains 3 10-mark multitask questions on 3 of the syllabus areas. The skills that you need for these are similar, however, you need to also bear in mind that you've got a longer scenario to read through. So familiarise yourself with reading through and dealing with the information in those longer scenarios and make sure you're prepared for the application necessary for these questions. So students who are successful in their F2 exam do so because they've got good techniques, so good time management, and also they've practiced lots of questions. So reinforcing then what's in the skills bank is going to give you the good technique. In addition to that technique though, as I said, you need to make sure that you have got the knowledge of the syllabus areas, that you can understand the different techniques, you've remembered the formula that you're going to need, and that you're happy identifying what it is the question means. This will come about then through hard work and lots of question practice. The more mock exams you can do to time, the more questions you can practice, the more likely in the exam you'll see questions that are in a similar vein to those that you've seen before. That will give you confidence that you're on the right track, and it will help you to feel prepared and in control. The worst thing you can do in the exam is panic, and that will come about if you haven't got the knowledge and you haven't got the practice, you don't have the skills ready to answer the questions. If you practice lots of questions and you make sure that you do some of them on a computer, if you're sitting a computer-based exam, with the tools that you're going to be using in the real exams, such as your own calculator, all of this will help make sure that the real exam feels less alien and more like question practice for questions you're used to. The very best of luck with your exam.